Peace and welcome to the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters. Thanks for watching and subscribing to our channel.
Recapitulation is the process of reflecting upon or going back over or summarizing events in your life. Basically, when a person is considered on their deathbed and they say when the veil is thin between life and death, they're in a process where they capitulate, or it's a process of recapitulation, which means they're at this point where their life is playing back in their mind and they're thinking about all of the different significant events in their life. And if you talk to some people who have been in that state before, you hear how they talk about different events in their life that demarcate or that were important or significant, that gives them a sense of not only their journey as a whole, but the trajectory of their journey, right? The reason I'm talking about recapitulating is because when you look at this lesson where it talks about the exact years and months of the days of being birthed, the devil being birthed on our planet, and I talked about you going back and thinking about the origin of certain things or challenges that may have set into motion other events that bring you to the place of where you are right now. That is also a process of recapitulation, because you are summarizing certain events in your life to strive to define those definable moments or those events that set other events into motion, where you can get a better understanding of what's going on right now, right? Typically, if a person went to like a counselor or something, that counselor encourages them to recapitulate, summarize those different events. If you go to a doctor does it more in a medical sense, where they may ask you, well, what were some of your experiences here, or what happened here, or, to kind of give you a sense of that journey. In indigenous societies, and this is something that I've done before, one of the rituals that they do is a recapitulation ritual, where what you do is you go out into a forest that will not be disturbed by any person, place, or thing. You build yourself a shallow grave. You lay some bedding in the shallow grave. You also get sticks as well as leaves and other different things to cover it. And you put that beside the shallow grave. You lay in it and you cover yourself up, and you symbolically die in a shallow grave. And you stay there for a minimum of 24 hours. That is a ritual that is practiced in some indigenous traditions, some shamanic traditions, and it's used for the process of forcing the mind to recapitulate or to play back the events in their life so that you could be born again or raised from the dead, right? When you look at it in relationship to the book that I sent you about Eyes Wide Shut, matter of fact, let me bring it up real quick. In Freemasonry, a lot of the traditions revolve around the story of Hiram Abiff, who was the master architect of building King Solomon's temple. Hiram Abiff was murdered by 3 ruffians, or 3 builders of the temple that wanted his secret password to earn master wages for future projects that they worked on. This is all symbolic when I'm actually explaining to y'all. Yeah, so Hiram Abiff, when he was murdered by the 3 ruffians who were working on the project of building King Solomon's temple, they hid his body in a rubbish pile inside of the temple, And then at midnight, they snuck his body out and buried him in a shallow grave. So when people go through Freemasonry, they reenact the raising of the body of Hiram Abiff, who was the master architect of building this temple. Right? They reenact it saying that as a person coming into the lodge, you are receiving light for the first time, or you are being raised from the grave. So it's the exact same analogy in terms of recapitulation that some indigenous tribes, and this is way before Freemasonry, I'm talking about in terms of the tribes, but the process was done in order to encourage people to reflect upon their life and to consider those different events that were important and to get a sense of their life trajectory, so that when they come out of that shallow grave, that they will be born again. So in Freemasonry, when a person is raised from that shallow grave, they're raised with what is called, or what is known as, the lion's paw grip, a strong grip. And the person that raises them from the grave is one of their brothers. So it's the same exact type of analogy in terms of why that lesson, and this is the image of the lion's paw grip right here. That's in the book. So even in gaining knowledge of self, a lot of times people that are learning these lessons, they're not going through a process of striving to figure out what they need to unlearn and where it started from, or what type of issues that they may have, or where they got that from. They don't go through that process. They just learn this and they're still the same person. They just take this and it's like a poisonous cake with just nice frosting on top of it.